Deep in the cold emptiness of space, far away from known worlds, there was only silence. No sound. No life. No movement. Just endless darkness between the stars. Humanity had long disappeared from this region of space. Or at least, that is what the alien races believed. In Sector 9ZX, an alien monitoring station floated near a dead star. The station belonged to the Virelian Empire, a powerful race known for their advanced scanning systems and strict control over deep space routes. For many cycles, nothing important had ever happened here. Only drifting rocks. Empty signals. Broken debris from old wars. But on this day, something changed. A junior sensor officer named Kale was watching the long-range detection screen. He was bored, like always. His duty shift was quiet, and nothing ever broke the routine. Until a soft alarm sound echoed in the control room. At first, Kale thought it was a glitch. The screen showed a faint signal. Very weak. Almost invisible. He leaned closer. The system tried to analyze it, but failed. No identification, the computer said. Kale frowned. That's impossible. He ran a deeper scan. The signal was not natural. It was structured. Organized. Like a message. But it was not coming from any known empire. Not Virelian. Not Zarkan. Not even the ancient Dravex species. It came from a region of space marked as dead. A place where no ships traveled. Kale immediately called his superior, Commander Reth. Within minutes, the command room filled with tension. Officers gathered around the holographic display. The signal was still there. Weak. But stable. Commander Reth studied it carefully. It could be interference, one officer suggested. No, Reth replied slowly. Interference does not repeat patterns like this. The room went silent. Then, the signal suddenly changed. It strengthened. The frequency shifted. And for 1 second, every screen in the station flickered. A strange pressure filled the room, like space itself had become heavier. Kale felt a cold shiver run down his spine. What was that? He whispered. Before anyone could answer, alarms exploded across the station. All external sensors went blind. Every camera feed turned black. Every scan result vanished. Panic spread immediately. We've lost external vision, shouted a technician. Reboot systems. Nothing is responding. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything came back online. But something was wrong. The space outside the station had changed. The signal was gone. Completely gone. No trace. No source. Nothing. Commander Reth stared at the main screen. Where did it go? He asked quietly. No one answered. Kale checked the logs again and again. But the data made no sense. The signal had not simply disappeared. It had erased itself. Like it never existed. Hours passed in confusion. The station sent reports to the Virelian High Council. But even the council could not explain it. They labeled it as a false deep space anomaly. Case closed. At least officially. But Kale could not forget what he saw. Something about it felt wrong. Not random. Not natural. It felt intentional. As if something had looked at them. And then decided to hide. Later that same cycle, another station far across the sector reported a similar event. And then another. And another. All identical. Weak signal. Sudden spike. Total blackout. Then silence. Slowly, fear began to grow in the background of Virelian command networks. Because patterns like this did not happen by chance. Something was moving in the dark. Something was watching. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, something had already noticed them noticing it. After the silent signal incident, the Virelian Empire tried to calm the situation. Official reports called it a system glitch in deep space sensors. But inside the command centers, no one truly believed that. Because too many stations had seen the same impossible event. And now, fear was spreading quietly. In the central capital world of Virela Prime, the Alien Council gathered. It was a massive chamber made of floating crystal structures, filled with representatives of many alien species. The air was heavy with tension. Commander Reth stood before them, showing the recorded data from Sector 9ZX. The hologram replayed the moment. Weak signal, sudden spike, complete blackout, then nothing. One of the council members, a tall insect-like species called the Cretan Speaker, clicked its mandibles nervously. "This is not random," it said. "Something is moving through dead space." Another council member, a floating energy-based being from the Orvex species, responded softly. "Or something is testing us." That word made the chamber silent. Testing. No one liked that idea. Because it meant intelligence. It meant planning. It meant purpose. The council demanded deeper scans into the region where the signals appeared. Ancient probe networks were activated. Some of them had not been used for thousands of cycles. Old data began to return. At first, it was broken. Fragments. Noise. Then something unusual appeared. A corrupted file from a destroyed exploration ship. The ship had belonged to a forgotten expedition that went beyond known space borders. Its final transmission was incomplete. But one phrase repeated inside the damaged logs. "Avoid human origin zones." Titan-Class designation confirmed. The council paused. Human. That word was not unknown. But it was dangerous. Ancient alien civilization spoke of humans only in lost records and forbidden archives. A species that once expanded across multiple star regions. A species that disappeared suddenly. No war record survived clearly. No victory record survived either. Only silence. And fear. Commander Reth enlarged the corrupted data further. Another line appeared. Humanity does not deploy fleets. It deploys titans. The word Titan echoed through the chamber. No one fully understood it. But every species had a similar reaction. Instinctive fear. Because Titan-class implied something beyond normal warships. Something massive. Something rare. Something final. The council demanded clarification. But there was none. All known human records had been sealed or destroyed long ago by unknown forces. Even the oldest civilizations refused to speak about them. As if remembering too much would bring attention. Then something even more disturbing happened. A deep space listening post detected another anomaly. Not a weak signal this time. But a structured transmission. It was repeating across multiple sectors. Same pattern. Same frequency. Same origin direction. And then the message was decoded. Only 4 words. Return to old space. The chamber erupted in confusion. What does it mean? Who is sending this? Is it a warning? Or a command? No one had answers. But Commander Reth felt something cold settle in his mind. Old space. That term was used in ancient texts to describe regions humans once controlled. Regions later abandoned. Or erased. Suddenly, the Orvex representative spoke again, voice shaking slightly. If humans are gone, then who is using their old channels? No one replied. Because the answer was worse than silence. It meant someone had access. Or worse. Someone had returned. Outside the council chamber, the stars above Virela Prime continued to shine peacefully. But far beyond those stars, in the empty regions no empire dared to explore. Something massive had begun to move. Not fast. Not loud. Just steady. Like it had been waiting for a long time. And now, it was no longer waiting. The name, Titan-Class, was no longer just a forgotten term. It was becoming a warning. And the galaxy, for the first time in thousands of cycles, started to feel something it had not felt in a long time. Not curiosity. Not ambition. But fear of something it did not understand. Something human. The galaxy was no longer calm. After the "return to old space" message, every major alien empire increased its deep space patrols. Scout fleets were deployed. Sensor arrays were expanded. Old defense protocols, forgotten for centuries, were activated again. But none of it brought comfort. Because the fear was not coming from something they could see. It was coming from what they could not find. In Sector 9ZX, where the first silent signal appeared, a Virelian patrol fleet entered the zone. 10 advanced ships moved in formation. Their mission was simple. Find the source. Destroy if needed. Report everything. Captain Vorex commanded the fleet. He was experienced, calm, and known for completing missions without hesitation. But even he felt uneasy in this region. Space here looked normal, yet felt wrong. Too still. Too empty. No drifting debris. No background radiation spikes. Even the stars seemed dimmer. Begin full spectrum scan, Vorex ordered. The fleet activated all sensors. Minutes passed. Then hours. Nothing. No signal. No object. No trace of any anomaly. One of the officers spoke carefully. "Captain, there is nothing here. Maybe the signal was a false reading after all." Vorex did not answer immediately. He kept watching the empty space ahead. Something about nothing felt too perfect. Too clean. Then suddenly, every ship's system flickered at the same time. Just for half a second. A tiny glitch. But in space, nothing glitches for no reason. Report. Vorex snapped. All systems stable. No damage. But Vorex knew something had just happened. Because their formation had been briefly interrupted, without cause. And in space, interruptions like that usually meant one thing. They were not alone. Then the darkness in front of them changed. A line appeared. Not a wormhole. Not a natural phenomenon. A straight tear in space. Perfectly controlled. Silent. From it, something began to emerge. At first, it looked like a shadow. Then it gained shape. A massive structure. Long. Dark. Covered in layered armor that reflected no light. It was not a normal warship. It was something else entirely. Too large for a single fleet to build. Too complex for any known species. The Virelian sensors tried to classify it. Nothing matched. Not ancient records. Not modern databases. Not even theoretical designs. Captain Vorex whispered, "What is that?" The ship completed its emergence. It did not fire. It did not attack. It simply stopped. Right in front of the fleet. Then a communication signal arrived. But it was not audio. Not visual. It was a direct neural transmission. Every crew member received the same message inside their mind. "You are in old space." Silence filled every bridge. One of the junior officers began to panic. "We should respond. Identify ourselves." But Vorex raised his hand. "No. Wait." He focused on the message. It was not aggressive. Not emotional. Just, final. Then another transmission came. This time stronger. This region is restricted. The word restricted caused confusion. No empire had ever marked this region as restricted. It was open space. Or at least, it used to be. Vorex finally activated communication. This is Virelian Patrol Fleet. We are not hostile. We are conducting investigation of unknown signal activity. A pause followed. Long. Uncomfortable. Then the answer came. No human authority detected. The officers looked at each other. Human authority. That phrase again. Vorex asked carefully, identify yourself. Another pause. Then the response. Designation, Titan-Class Warship. The fleet froze. Even breathing felt slower. Even thoughts felt heavier. Titan-Class. The word from ancient records. The word no one fully understood. Then the warship moved. Just slightly. Not toward them. Not away. But enough to make its presence undeniable. It was not attacking. It was positioning. Like a guardian deciding whether something was allowed to exist. Then the final message arrived. Stronger than before. Colder. Leave this space. Last warning. The fleet remained silent. No one spoke. No one moved. Captain Vorex stared at the impossible structure in front of him. And for the first time in his entire career, he considered retreat without orders. Because this was not a battle situation. This was something older. Something forgotten. Something that did not need to prove its power. It already had it. And somewhere deep inside the fleet's systems, hidden beneath layers of encryption. A final line appeared automatically in ancient human language logs. Titan-class unit active. Containment protocol, engaged. The galaxy had just made its first real contact. But it was not a meeting. It was a warning being delivered, from the past that never truly died. The message had been clear. Leave this space. Last warning. Captain Vorex did not move for several seconds. His entire fleet waited in silence, as if even the smallest command could trigger something irreversible. The Titan-class warship stayed still in front of them. No weapons activated. No shields raised. No visible aggression. But that was exactly what made it terrifying. Because real danger does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply exists, and expects obedience. One of the junior officers finally spoke in a shaken voice. Captain, should we retreat? Vorex did not answer immediately. His eyes remained fixed on the massive structure ahead. Every instinct told him to leave. But he was still a soldier of the Virelian Empire. And retreat without proof meant failure. Attempt a passive scan again, he ordered quietly. The fleet obeyed. All ships activated low-energy observation systems. For a brief moment, everything seemed normal. Then the scan results appeared. And instantly, they disappeared again. Not blocked. Not jammed. Just erased. Like the Titan-class warship had refused to be measured by anyone. A technician's voice broke the silence. Captain, it is not rejecting the scan, it is deleting the scan from existence. That statement made the bridge go cold. Even advanced civilizations could not fully erase data in real time across multiple ships. But this thing did it effortlessly. As if space itself obeyed it. Suddenly, one of the fleet ships reported an anomaly. Captain. The forward vessel, it is drifting. Drifting? Why? Vorex snapped. No engine failure detected, no damage, it is just moving away from formation. All eyes turned to the ship. It was slowly turning. Not under command. Not under fire. But under something else. Fear. The crew inside had abandoned control protocols and were manually pulling back. One ship breaking formation. Then another. Then another. Panic was spreading silently through the fleet. No one wanted to be the first to stay. Because no one wanted to be the first to disappear. The Titan-Class Warship did not react. It simply observed. Then it moved again. A small shift. But that single movement caused every Varelian ship to activate emergency retreat protocols. Captain Vorex shouted, "Hold formation." But it was too late. The fleet had already started pulling back. Not as an order. But as instinct. And instinct was stronger than discipline. The Titan-Class Warship sent another transmission. This time, it was not words. It was data. A visual projection. Inside every ship's display appeared a map of the region. Ancient star charts. Some sectors marked in red. Others completely blacked out. And at the center of it all, was their current location. Then a single line appeared. Human protected zone. The words hit harder than any weapon. Human protected zone. That meant this region was not random. It was claimed. Guarded. Maintained. By something the galaxy had tried to forget. One of the officers whispered, "Humans are gone, aren't they?" No one answered. Because no one was sure anymore. Captain Vorex clenched his fists. If humans are gone, then who is enforcing this? As if responding to his thought, the Titan-Class Warship finally spoke again. Humans are not gone. Silence. Complete silence. Even the background ship noise felt like it had stopped. Then the message continued. They are elsewhere. The fleet had no response to that. Elsewhere. Not dead. Not destroyed. Just not here. And that was somehow worse. Because something that powerful choosing to be elsewhere meant it had left something behind. A guardian. Or a warning. The Titan-Class Warship began to rotate slightly. Its massive structure slowly aligned itself toward the fleet. Not threatening. But final. Then the last message came. This is your final safe passage. A path appeared on their navigation systems. A corridor through space. Clear. Open. Unprotected. But unmistakably, allowed. Captain Vorex stared at it. A safe exit, offered by something that could erase fleets without effort. He understood something in that moment. This was not mercy. It was instruction. Slowly, he gave the order. Full retreat, follow the path. The fleet turned. Not in victory. Not in defeat. But in survival. As they moved away, Vorex looked back one last time. The Titan-Class Warship did not follow. It did not chase. It simply remained in place. Like a locked gate in the middle of the galaxy. Guarding something unseen. Something ancient. Something human. And as the fleet escaped Sector 9ZX, every ship received one final automated warning across all systems. Do not return without human authorization. The galaxy had not lost a battle. It had simply been, politely removed. And now every empire knew one truth. Somewhere in the dark, humanity still had guardians. And those guardians did not ask questions. They only enforced silence. The Varelian fleet returned in silence. No victory celebrations. No heroic reports. Only quiet fear sitting in every ship like a heavy stone. When they reached Varela Prime, the command council was already waiting. But something was different this time. No one spoke loudly. No one demanded pride. Because the data had already spread across all military channels. Everyone had seen the same impossible truth. A Titan-Class Warship. A human-protected zone. And a warning that felt more like a law than a message. Inside the Grand Council chamber, Commander Vorex stood alone in front of the assembled leaders. The holographic replay began again. The silent emergence. The erased scans. The fleet retreating without orders. And finally, the last message. Do not return without human authorization. When the recording ended, no one moved. Even the alien council members who usually argued endlessly now stayed quiet. Then the Cretan speaker finally broke the silence. If humans are truly gone, why does something still protect their space? No one answered. Because the question itself was dangerous. The Orvex representative floated slightly forward. Or, they never left. Only their presence was hidden. That statement caused unease across the chamber. Commander Reth, who had first discovered the signal anomaly, stepped forward. There is more. He activated another hidden file recovered from the fleet's corrupted logs. It was not from the Titan-class ship. It was older. Much older. A fragment of human origin encryption buried in deep space archives. The projection flickered. And then text appeared. Simple. Calm. But enough to silence the entire chamber. Humanity does not seek war. Humanity does not seek expansion. Humanity seeks survival. And survival requires boundaries. A pause. Then the second line appeared. Those who respect boundaries are not remembered. Those who cross them are not repeated in history. The chamber went cold. Not because of threat. But because of understanding. Humanity had not been destroyed. It had been removed from active history on purpose. Like a civilization choosing to step out of view. But not out of existence. The Titan-Class Warship was proof. A system still active. Still watching. Still enforcing something older than empires. Suddenly, every console in the chamber flickered. Unauthorized. No system trigger. No command input. Just activation. A new transmission appeared across all console screens. Not from Virelian systems. Not from any known species. But from deep space. The same origin point as Sector 9ZX. The room froze. Then the message appeared. This is not a warning. Silence tightened the air. Then it continued. This is confirmation. Every council member instinctively leaned forward. The message expanded. Humanity is active in outer zones. Gasps spread across the chamber. Active. Not extinct. Not lost. Active. Then the final line appeared. Titan units are not weapons. They are watchers. The word watchers changed everything. Because weapons attack. But watchers observe. And decide. Commander Vorex whispered, we were never the target. The Orvex finished his thoughts softly. We were just the first thing it allowed us to see. Outside the council chamber, deep space sensors suddenly detected something new. Not a signal. Not a ship. But a presence. Multiple readings. Across different sectors. All identical. All silent. All watching. And then came the final discovery. Far beyond Virelian space, in regions marked as unknown dark zones, ancient human symbols began to reactivate on dormant satellites. Systems that had been dead for millennia were turning on. One by one. Not loudly. Not urgently. But deliberately. As if someone had finally pressed a long-awaited switch. Back in the council chamber, Commander Reth looked at the frozen data one last time. And realized something that made his voice drop. They never left space. He paused. They only stopped being visible in it. The Titan-Class Warship was not an encounter. It was a reminder. That somewhere in the vast galaxy, humanity had built something that did not forget. And now, the galaxy understood the final truth. Humanity was not a myth. Not a legend. Not a lost civilization. It was a presence. And where humanity's presence existed, silence was not empty. It was guarded.